We finally have the 32 teams for this year's World Cup. After the last 3 teams, Australia, Costa Rica, and Wales booked their spot at this year's World Cup. We can finally do the early World Cup predictions for the group stage. When the tournament comes, I'm gonna give you an entire predictions video. Also, in this video, I'm taking into account mostly what's happened recently, international break, also with the World Cup qualifiers and all these circumstances. When the tournament comes closer in around October, November, I will give you my final predictions where we will take into account injuries, squad selections, and all that sort of stuff. But you know what to do right now. You give your early World Cup predictions in the comments section down below. You hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and further ado, let's get to the World Cup predictions. So starting off with Group A, Qatar, the host, Senegal, Ecuador, and the Netherlands. This is a tricky one to call. You have 4 good teams, I would say. Qatar have been a little bit on the downfall since winning the Asian Cup in 2019. Felix Sanchez still is a very good manager. This team is basically a club team. They have all played together for many, many years. The long process of Qatar, when they were announced host, developing these players, Ali Al-Moez and these sort of guys. Qatar have a good team. If this tournament was played in 2020, I would have given them a good chance. But the last couple of years, Qatar have not been performing well. Yes, they did well in the Gold Cup, but the European qualifiers that they were involved in, it went horribly wrong. So I think Qatar are going to finish 4th, but they could surprise some people. 3rd position, I'm going to go with Ecuador at this moment. Alvaro's side, a very young and exciting side. They can play very good counter-attacking, great in possession. They have a lot of good players. Estupiñán, Moises Caicedo, Gonzalo Plata, obviously Enner Valencia still the leadership in the back, Hinchapie in defense. Ecuador have a lot of young talented players. I worry about their form away from Ecuador. They're a fantastic home side and they proved that during the CONMEBOL World Cup qualifiers. But away from home, they weren't the strongest. They can prove some doubters wrong in the World Cup, but I worry a little bit their performances away from Ecuador. So I'm going to have them in 3rd position. In 2nd position, it is going to be the AFCON champions, Senegal. Aliou Cissé's side is a wonderful team. I'm really excited about this Senegalese side. I think they can do something special at this World Cup. However, I think they're going to finish 2nd in this group. They need to get a bona fide striker that can get them the goals. Excellent defense, Koulibaly, Edouard Mendy, and these sort of guys. They're great in midfield. Idrissa Gueye, Nampalys Mendy, Cheikhou Kouyaté. Senegal have great options, and of course then Sadio Mane, Ismaïla Sarr, Boulaye Dia. They just need to get some consistent goal scoring. If they can get that, Senegal, they can make the semi-finals. Because this is a confident side after winning the AFCON. Aliou Cissé is a very good manager. Yes, he had some doubters before that AFCON, but everybody shut up after that AFCON. So I think Senegal will finish 2nd in the group, and in 1st position, it will be the Netherlands. Louis van Gaal, one of the great managers in this world when it comes to international football. He knows how to prepare for World Cup. 2014 is a prime example. Nobody gave a chance to the Netherlands. Nobody. In that group especially, which was the group of death with Chile, Spain, and Australia. Nobody gave them a chance. But he had his team set up well. He knew how to execute his ideas. And he's starting to show that with this side as well. Steven Bergwijn, Memphis Depay, they have to be excellent up front. They have excellent defenders. De Ligt, Van Dijk, they're solid at the back. But this is another case with the Netherlands. They need to get consistent goal scoring. And we know with Louis van Gaal, they're going to play their 5-3-2 formation. And they're executing it very well at the moment. So I think the Netherlands, they're full of confidence, full of goal scoring, great in defense, great in midfield with Frenkie de Jong, of course, controlling it. The Netherlands will finish 1st in this group. Group B. Oh boy. England, Iran, Wales, and the United States. In 4th position, I'm going to go with Iran at this moment. Their preparation for this World Cup has gone off to a disaster. Obviously, they were supposed to have the friendly with Canada, which was later cancelled. They had a friendly against Algeria and won 2-1. There's been a little bit, skulkage with his ideas, his tactics, a little bit with Taremi not being selected last year. So is there a little bit of unease at the moment with the Iranian camp? No doubt, in attack, they can score against anybody. They're going to make life difficult for every opponent in this group. Most likely, they're going to be very defensive, have a good structure, and then rely on Jahanbash, Azmoun, and Taremi to get the goals. When you have those 3 players up front, they can get you goals against any side. I'm just wondering about their preparation at the moment. If they could do well in September with some friendlies, maybe my idea will change. But Iran's goal is to finally get out of the group stage for the very first time in World Cup history. Will they do that? I'm not too sure. So I'm going to have them in 4th position. 3rd position, I'm going to have the United States. Greg Vibes Berhalter. As you guys have been following the channel, I call him Greg Vibes Berhalter because you don't know what you're going to get with this manager. The United States can look great one day with all the wonderful young and attacking talent and wonderful midfielder play. And then some days they just look horrible with no idea, no preparation, no motivation. So you don't know what you're going to get with this side. It can be good and it can be horrible. But mostly those horrible games have been away from home. How will they adapt to Qatar? Can they rely on their young players? Yunus Musa, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, Christian Pulisic, Brendan Aronson, Timothy Weah. The endless abundance of talent in this squad is amazing to watch. The two biggest question marks when it comes to the United States. One, who's the striker? Is it going to be Ricardo Pepi, Jesus Ferreira, Haji Wright? There's no recognized striker. Also, who is going to be the goalkeeper? Is it going to be Matt Turner, Sean Johnson, Ethan Horvath, Zach Steffen? We don't know who the goalkeeper is going to be. So there's a lot of question marks when it comes to Greg Berhalter's side. But if they can put it together and get a recognized striker, the United States are a very dangerous team. Very dangerous team. But I think they're going to finish third position. In second position, I think it will be Wales. Excellent in World Cup qualifiers. They used their home support to their advantage. Gareth Bale was amazing against Austria. Then against Ukraine, Wales had to dig deep. Got the goal from the free kick. Obviously an own goal from Yarmolenko. But this side, they just know how to defend well. Rob Page is an excellent manager who still does, I don't think it's enough credit for the job he's doing as interim manager still. The Wales have so many abundance of talent as well, compared with also the United States. When you look at Harry Wilson, Dan James, Brendan Johnson, Nico Williams. This team has great young players mixed in with the experience. Ben Davies, Aaron Ramsey, and of course, Gareth Bale. This was the ultimate goal for Gareth Bale in his Welsh career. Lead his side to a World Cup. He has done that. Now, his objective and the Wales' objective is to get out of the group. And I think they can do that. I think with a player like Gareth Bale, with a manager like Rob Page, with Ben Davies leading the defense, I think they can keep a clean sheet, make life difficult, and hit teams on the counterattack very dangerously. So I think the Wales are going to finish second place in this group. And in first position is going to be England. Now, let's take it to some context here. I know the Nations League has been horrible. I know I have ripped them apart. I know you have ripped them apart if you're not English, or maybe even if you're English, you have ripped this team apart. But if they don't finish first position or second position, it is a complete and utter disaster with the amount of talent this team has. Some say this is the golden generation of the England national team. I would say so. Look at the abundance of talent this team has. Harry Kane, Raheem Sterling, Jack Grealish, Mason Mount, Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice, Kyle Walker, Trent, Reece James, Tomori, John Stones. I can go on and on about the amount of great players this England team has. But the biggest question mark, as we all know, is Gareth Southgate. If Gareth Southgate doesn't have this team prepared, and if they're just going to be defensive, the goal for this English team is to win the World Cup. It has to be, with the amount of talent they have. I don't think you can do that with Gareth Southgate. They're going to have to raise their level of play massively and have an identity when they go into this World Cup. Those two games in September in the Nations League, they're very crucial because those are the last two games they will play as a unit. Gareth Southgate needs to find an identity. Will he just go back to the 5-in-the-back formation? Possibly. I just think they have too much talent compared to these other teams in the group. But they have to be careful and they must improve in September. If they don't, this prediction will change. But for now, England will finish first. Group C, we have Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Mexico, and Poland. So in fourth position, I'm going to pick Saudi Arabia. Hervé Renard is no doubt a great manager. You could see what he did with Morocco in the 2018 World Cup. You can see what he's done with Zambia and Ivory Coast, leading them to AFCON glory. Hervé Renard is a great manager. But this team lacks a goal scorer. If you look at their goal scoring throughout that World Cup qualifiers, and if you look at their last couple of friendlies, they just don't have a guy to put the ball in the back of the net. That is the biggest problem when it comes to Saudi Arabia. They can keep a clean sheet, they can keep a low-scoring affair, but who's going to get the goals? Will it be Saleh Al-Shairi, Fahad Al-Mawad? Who will get the goals for this Saudi Arabian side? they're going to have a massive home support. Obviously, Saudi Arabia borders with Qatar. They can use that to their advantage. They know the climate, as basically all these players play in the Saudi league. So Saudi Arabia can use these circumstances to their advantage. But they're in a tough group against some top teams. So Saudi Arabia are going to have to improve massively with their goal scoring. If they don't, it could get difficult for Saudi Arabia. So I'm going to have them in 4th position. In 3rd position, I think it's going to be Poland. Yes, I know it's going to be between Poland and Mexico for that 2nd position. I have not really seen a great identity or a style of play under Zesla, the new manager, after he took over from Paulo Sousa. What improvements have we seen from Poland? And we know when it gets to major tournaments, this team fumble. Look at 2018 World Cup. They were supposed to get out of that group. In the group of life, they finished last. Last Euros, they should have gone 1st or 2nd. What happens? They finished last in the group. Poland need to show up at this tournament. And Lewandowski will. But I'm looking at Zielinski. Matty Cash has been playing well for Poland ever since becoming Polish citizen. This team has talent, but they must rise to the occasion. And Zesla must get an identity with this team. I feel like they're going to struggle. I really do. I hope they don't, because I do like Lewandowski and all these players, but there's just something about Poland when it comes to these major tournaments. They don't do well. So I'm going to have them in 3rd position. In 2nd position, I think it's going to be Mexico. Now, let me just pump the brakes here. Mexico are absolutely garbage at the moment. Absolutely garbage. I don't think I've ever seen this bad of a Mexican team. Yes, 2014 was bad, but it ain't this bad. Who's scoring the goals? Tata Martino is under massive, massive pressure. He was hired to get to Quinta Partido, get to the quarterfinals, the 5th match in the World Cup. At this rate, they could be out after 2 games with the way they're playing. But we always see this with El Tri. We always see this. They do terrible in World Cup qualifiers, and then when it comes to the World Cup, they just somehow elevate their play and are world beaters. Look at 2014 World Cup is a prime example. The World Cup qualifiers, they could have easily been out. What happens when they get to Brazil? They could have easily made it to the quarterfinals if it wasn't for Robin diving. Tata Martino needs to get some confidence in this side. Maybe it will happen in the World Cup. Who knows? But that performance against Uruguay yet again shows this team is fragile at the back and doesn't have a goal scorer. Raul Jimenez is not the same player anymore. He isn't. Chucky Lozano must step up. So those are the biggest question marks I have with Mexico. Is Chicharito going to be the answer to come back? Well, let's wait and see. But I think Mexico somehow will galvanize and put it all together and finish 2nd in the group. And in 1st position is going to be Argentina. I don't need to go further. This team is great. Scaloni doing a fantastic job. Messi looks happy. All the players look thrilled to come to play for Argentina. Unlike 2018, when the side did not care about going to Argentina, didn't care about playing for the national team, managed by an Argentinian tattooed bulldog who was an absolute waste of time. This team is completely different. That confidence this team has and the way they can play nasty, be very physical. They can play some beautiful football like they did against Italy in La Finalissima. I absolutely love this Argentinian side. I think they can win the World Cup. I strongly do believe they can win the World Cup. Will that happen? Lautaro needs to be on fire. He needs to be on fire. If that can happen, they can win this World Cup. But they're going to breeze past this group. If Argentina don't get 1st place, that's going to be some question marks raised. They will easily win this group. No doubt about that. 1st place for Argentina. We move on to Group D, where we have Australia, Tunisia, Denmark, and France. In 4th position, I know the Socceroo fans are going to hate me. Once again, I've been not picking their side lately. I'm going to go with Australia. This can be changed. Maybe the side can be somewhat more improving in September, but I just still wonder with this team. Graham Arnold did a better job during these last 2 games against the UAE and Peru. And this team showed a spirit and a grit to qualify to the World Cup like they have many times before in the Intercontinental Playoffs. But I just struggle to see where the goals are going to come from. I really do. And can they win 1-0? Most definitely. But it's going to be a whole different kettle of fish when you're facing Denmark and France in this group. And Tunisia, who can score some goals. Compared to Peru and the UAE. Peru were lackluster on the day, but no doubt about it. You got to give credit to Australia. But I struggled to see how they're going to win games in this group. I'm going to pick them 4th position. Third position, I'm going to go with Tunisia. Jalil Kadri has done an excellent job so far as being head manager of the Tunisian national team. They got an absolutely impressive result. 3-0 win in Japan against Japan. This side, you always write off Tunisia. You always do, and then they surprise you. But it shouldn't be a shock. This team is well organized, great in defense. Just need to get that 1 or 2 goals. If they can get that, who knows? They could finish first or second in this group. But I think Tunisia will finish third in the group because these top 2 teams are very, very difficult. Second position, I'm going to go with France, the defending world champions. Didier Deschamps' side has been terrible during the Nations League. He's been trying different formations, trying different players in certain positions. I think when the tournament comes, Didier Deschamps will go back to a 5-in-the-back formation, allow Theo Hernandez and most likely Kingsley Coman down the right as a right wing back. Let them push forward, because when they've been playing a 4-in-the-back formation, Didier Deschamps, it has been a calamity. Absolute calamity. You saw that at the Euros. You saw that sometimes in the Nations League. They need to get a consistent goal scorer. I don't think Griezmann can start for this team anymore. He's just washed up. He doesn't look like the same. 2018, he was fantastic. Right now, it's not the same Griezmann. So we need to see Nkunku in the 10 spot. And if Mbappe and Benzema are on fire, nobody can stop them. Absolutely nobody. But will the World Cup curse hit them? Don't worry, there will be a separate video discussion about the World Cup curse. Will that happen to this French side? If it does happen, I would be genuinely shocked. In this group, I would be shocked. I don't think it will happen, but they will finish second in the group. First position, Denmark. Kasper Hjulmand. Absolutely love this team. Kasper Hjulmand is one of the most underrated managers in the world. Doesn't get the praise he deserves. This team is so fun to watch with so many exciting young players. I look at Joachim Male. Christian Eriksen coming back in this side is wonderful. Kasper Dolberg, if he can get some consistent goal scoring from Kasper Dolberg, this side can be dangerous once again. Obviously, there was no Simon Kjær during the Nations League. He is recovering from a knee injury. He's going to have to come back to full fitness and lead the defense, because without him, they could struggle, but they have shown, even without Christian Eriksen, even without Simon Kjær, this side can even more elevate their play. And that's because of the manager, Kasper Hjulmand. So they're going to finish first in this group. Everybody's going to underestimate them, and they will surprise once again at a major tournament and finish first in the group. So we move on to Group E, where we have Spain, Costa Rica, Japan, and Germany. In fourth position, I'm going to go with Los Ticos, Costa Rica. Look, they're not going to play the most sexiest brand of football. They're going to make life difficult. And when I mean difficult against the other teams in this group. But they are on absolute fire, Costa Rica. Can they pull a 2014 and get out of a group where nobody gives them a chance? Most definitely, because they're playing some good football. Yes, it's very defensive. Yes, it's only 1-0s and 2-1s and this sort of stuff. But this side are full of confidence. Look at their 2022 results. They have lost one game, and that was the Nations League when they probably played a B or C side. I wasn't checking in-depth on the squad. But other than that, they have beaten Canada, they've drawn with Mexico, they've beaten the United States. I know they were outplayed by New Zealand and all that sort of stuff, but I'm telling you, once this team gets a 1-0 lead, it's over. Because Keylor Navas will keep a clean sheet then. When you have one of the best goalkeepers in the world, you have a chance. But I struggle to see how they're going to score goals in this group, so I'm going to have them in fourth position. In third position, it kind of hurts me to say this, Japan. I really want to pick Japan to finish first or second. I really do. I think if this team was in any other group, they would have a fantastic chance of getting out, because Moriyasu's side are excellent. They struggled at the beginning of the third round of Asian World Cup qualifiers. But ever since that struggle, they've been much better, outplaying teams, scored some wonderful goals, and the endless talent this team has is amazing. Daishi Kamada, Minamino, Kubo, Ito, Mitomo, Furuhashi, Tomiyasu, Nagatomo. This team is excellent. But how are they going to do against Germany and Spain? Can they play their exciting brand of football, or will they have to be a bit more defensive against those two teams? At least against Spain, they're probably going to be defensive and not have as much possession of the ball. But I love this side. I just have to pick them third. I really do. I don't know how they're going to beat Germany and Spain, but let's see how it goes. So Japan are going to finish third in the group. In second position, I'm going to go with Spain, Luis Enrique's side. Excellent in the Euros. Dominated teams with possession, passing it all around. but they need to get a consistent goal scorer. You can just tell with this side. If they had a consistent goal scorer, I think Spain would be most people's pick to win the World Cup because of the exciting talent they have. Pedri, Gavi, Sergio Busquets, they can control any midfield. Any midfield. They need to get a goal scorer from Ferran Torres or Alvaro Morata. And if you're relying on these two guys to get goals, I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. But they can win games 2-0 and be dominant. But then when they go against a side that can be really attacking and go at this defense, we saw in the Euros when teams attack the Spanish defense, they're leaky. They're very leaky. So I think they're going to finish second in the group if they can just get a consistent goal scorer. If they could only get that. Second position. And in first position, it is Hansi Flick's Germany. Hansi Flick. He has to be one of the best managers in the world. At least top 3. The work this guy has done in a short span of time as Germany national team manager is remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. The pressing, the football this team can play with the young talents coming through like Jamal Musiala. But it's again, just like Spain, who will get the goals? Who can be that consistent goal scorer who can take the game in a big moment? Could it be Kai Havertz? Could it be the miracle worker? Could it be Timo Werner? Who will be that guy to step up for Germany and get that consistent goal scoring? If this side had a Miroslav Klose, I would pick Germany to win the World Cup. Just based on Hansi Flick and based on Kimmich and Goretzka and these sort of guys to control the midfield. Absolutely love this team. They're going to finish first in the group. I cannot wait for Spain versus Germany. That game is going to be, I think, the best game in the group stage of the World Cup. They will finish first in the group. So we move on to Group F, the group of life. Any of these teams can get out of the group, in my opinion. So this is going to be, I think, the most difficult to predict once the World Cup comes in around November. We have Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. At this moment, in fourth position, I'm going to go with Canada. I know this sounds crazy, but there's been a lot of federation problems if you haven't been following Canada in the last couple weeks. The dispute with the salary, with the players, and this sort of stuff. How much will this disrupt their preparation for the World Cup? I'm not disputing their talent and all this sort of stuff, and John Herdman, the manager, who's fantastic. But is there a little bit of a federation problem at the moment? Will this get into the heads of the players? How will they deal with also the climate in Qatar? They were the best side by far at home in CONCACAF. They were good away as well in certain games, but in certain games they did struggle. How will they adapt in Qatar? That's a big question. I'm so excited to see Canada back at the World Cup. I think everybody is. I just have a little bit of question marks. Just a little bit. But no doubt, with Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, and Kyle Larin, and Tajon Buchanan, I think Tajon Buchanan will have a big World Cup, by the way, and people will recognize this player. But I'm having a little bit of a worry about Canada. Just a little bit. But this could change in November. So fourth position for Canada. Third position, I'm going to go with Morocco. Salihamidzic. This guy, you either love him or you hate him. Just like Ziyech and Mazwari. They definitely hate him. So he's going to have to show his managerial qualities at this year's World Cup. Remember in 2014 with Algeria, who was the manager when they were excellent in the group stage and they made it to round of 16? Salihamidzic. You got Hakimi. You have Bono as the goalkeeper. Excellent. Yes, they got thumped by the USA, but that was only a friendly. Once they got to the AFCON qualifiers, they were excellent at home against South Africa. Yes, it was only 2-1 win, but they should have won the game 3 or 4-1. They were excellent on the day. Morocco can play against any side, and they can make life difficult, and they have exciting young players. I just think with Salihamidzic, yes, you can say he's a little bit of a madman. Yes, he is. But tactically, very good, and gets the players playing excellent football. Will we see Ziyech and Mazwari at the World Cup? I'm not too sure. I still think they're going to be good enough to finish third in the group. Second position, I'm going to go with Croatia. Zlatko Dalic, love the manager, love the Croatian players. They arguably have the best midfield in this World Cup with Brozovic, Kovacic, and Modric. But this is another team, when you look at the attacking and especially striker, are you going to trust Budimir? Who is going to get the goals? Kramaric is not a natural goal scorer. He's a good number 10. He cannot get you the goals on a consistent basis. So are you going to have to rely on Perisic or Rebic to get the goals on a consistent basis? I don't know if they can deliver that anymore. If this side had a Mandzukic, once again Croatia could be so dangerous. They really could. Or could imagine if they had Davor Suker. Oh my god, this team would be so good. but they just don't have a striker to get them the goals. Zlatko Dalic's side can play excellent football, can dominate games, can sit back and counterattack, but I think they have enough quality and are a very good team to get second position in the group. Will they get further past the round of 16? I'm not too sure, but they'll finish second in the group. And in first position, I'm going to go with Belgium. I'm not confident in this pick. I've given up on this side. That last Euros I saw last summer, I've given up. You just cannot trust them anymore. Yes, their golden generation is still there with Eden Hazard, Kevin De Bruyne, Romelu Lukaku. But look at the defense. Vertonghen, Alderweireld are still in this side. They're still in this side. Roberto Martinez has to perform. He has to. He was brought to Belgium to bring success. I don't see any success. I don't see Eden Hazard lifting any trophies. So this side is once again under pressure to perform. And they must perform immediately on the first match day against Canada. Because if they lose that game, I think Belgium are in trouble. Kevin De Bruyne obviously making comments about the Nations League. It's not important. Then getting absolutely destroyed by Netherlands at home. Maybe we should take it serious. But I think this side will pull it together and perform in the group stage. But that first match day against Canada, if they lose, like I said, I think they're out then. But they will finish first in the group. Move on to Group G, where we have Brazil, Cameroon, Switzerland, and Serbia. In fourth position, I'm going to go with Cameroon, Rigobert Song's side. Look, Samuel Eto'o, if you have seen his videos recently, gave it to this side, that they must perform. And if you don't perform, you're out. It doesn't matter who you are or what status you have in this team. This will be a good wake-up call to this Cameroonian side. They were good at home hosting the AFCON. With Vincent Aboubakar, Toko Ekambi. They have good attacking players. Anguissa controlling the midfield. I think Cameroon can make life difficult, but I wonder when it comes to mentality with this side. Because they didn't respect Comoros, for example, in the AFCON, and almost went to extra time with Comoros having an outfield player in net. Then I look at the Algeria away in the World Cup qualifiers playoff. Excellent to come back and get that late goal. So this side just has a mentality problem. If they can put it all together and perform, I think they can do well. But they're in a very, very tough group against three other great sides. So I think Cameroon will finish fourth. Third position, I'm going to go with Switzerland. Murat Yakin's side. I don't know what happened to Switzerland in the Nations League. That is not the Switzerland we have known for the last couple of years. Unrecognizable. I know they had a lot of injuries and this sort of stuff, but I mean, even defensively, they were so poor and just so easily broken down. For example, in the Portugal game, I mean, some of the goals they gave up is just some schoolboy defending. They must fix up on that because they know Serbia are going to want revenge, and it's all going to come down to that match day 3 matchup between Switzerland and Serbia. No doubt about that. I think both teams will come into that game with either 3 or 4 points. So they must be ready for the revenge factor from Serbia. But still with Embolo, Granit Xhaka, who turns into prime Pirlo when he shows up in the national team, Shaqiri and these guys, Switzerland have a good team. But they must fix defensively up. If they don't, they're going to concede a lot of goals, especially with Brazil and Serbia in this group. For now, they're going to finish third in the group. Second position, I'm going to go with Serbia. Dragan Stojkovic, excellent manager. Love the job he has done so far with this side. And the endless talent and the endless ways this team can play a possession style of football like they did against Portugal. They can sit back and counterattack, and they have excellent counterattacking players. They can bring players off the bench and make a difference in the game. Absolutely love this Serbian side. But always when you wonder about Serbia, when it comes to these major tournaments, they kind of flop. They have so many high expectations, and then they flop. They must rise to the occasion. Tadic, Kostic, Vlahovic, Mitrovic, Milinkovic-Savic. This team has so many good players. So it's a matter of Dragan Stojkovic keeping everybody in the camp happy so that every player feels valuable. Because that is the key when it comes to a World Cup. That when they're called up, if they're off the bench, they know they can make a difference. So that's going to be the key, I think, with Serbia. I don't dispute with their talent and with the way they play, but they must rise to this occasion. I cannot see Serbia flop once again at a World Cup. I don't think they will. I think they'll get second in the group. And in first position, it is going to be Brazil. Tite, the manager, we know he's done an excellent job bringing back Copa America glory. Yes, they lost at home in the final last summer, but let's not take that too much into account. You look at this team and you just wonder, how are you going to stop them? Because they can play Neymar at the false 9. They can play Neymar at the cam. They can have Vinicius Jr., who's elevating his play and becoming slowly a superstar in world football. They can either have Rapinho or Antony out wide, Richarlison, who can be that sort of bulldog mentality up front and make life difficult for the opponents with the pressing. I don't think Brazil are going to sit back. They're going to take the games to opponents. When you have Casemiro or Fred or Fabinho or Lucas Paqueta, Bruno Guimaraes, the biggest weakness with this team is the two fullbacks. If they're still going to play Dani Alves, they're going to be exposed at that. So they're not going to develop any fullbacks in those couple months ahead. They're not going to do that. So they're going to have to find a way so that they're not so exposed at the back, especially with the fullbacks. If they can find that sort of solution, they can win this World Cup. They have the talent to do it. They have the manager. They have the players. But Brazil will win this group. And we move on to the final group, Group H, where we have Portugal, Uruguay, South Korea, and Ghana. In fourth position, I'm going to go with South Korea under manager Paulo Bento. Look, South Korea are very, very organized side. They don't like to give up a lot of goals. They don't give up a lot of chances. If you follow them in Asian World Cup qualifiers, they don't do that. But they did struggle at times to convert their chances. But Heung-min Son can make a difference. Hwang Hee-chan can make a difference. Hwang Yu-jo can make a difference. So they have a lot of players that can create a goal out of nothing. But it's going to be a whole different story playing against the UAE, Iraq, when you're going to go up against Cavani, Ronaldo in this group stage. I wonder if South Korea are going to struggle then to keep a clean sheet. I'm going to have them finish fourth in this group. But this could change. Maybe I'll have a epiphany and say, oh, maybe South Korea will actually get out of this group. Because this is a group that any of these teams can actually get out of. But for now, I'm going to have them in fourth position. In third position, I'm going to go with Ghana. Otto Addoe has done a good job since becoming Ghanaian national team manager. But look at the players they're going to maybe call up. Tariq Lamptey, Hudson Odoi, Inaki Nico Williams, Talisu. Ghana are building something for this World Cup. Whether you like that they're adding these players now and they weren't a part of the World Cup qualifiers process, that's your opinion. I'm just talking about how they're going to add to this team. And we saw in the game against Nigeria that they're a very organized side. They don't give up a lot of goals, but they just need that goal scorer. Maybe they can get the goal scorer from these players. And these players will add even more competition within the squad, which is what Ghana need. You can't just keep relying on Jordan Andre Ayew. I know I keep clowning these players, but you cannot keep relying on these guys. So they're going to elevate their play, and everybody will elevate their play with these additions of these players. But I wonder how it's all going to gel together. Yes, it looks fantastic on paper, but let's see how it looks on the pitch. Let's see how their movement. Let's see how Otto Addoe then wants to play with this side. So it's a very exciting time if you're a Ghanaian, but let's see how they're going to play in September if they get all of these additions. But for now, they're going to finish third in the group. Second position, I'm going to go with Uruguay and Diego Alonso's side. Uruguay are looking good. They're looking good, people. Ever since they sacked Oscar Gabares, I think Uruguay have gotten more refreshed, looking much more threatening on the counterattack, great in possession with all the players they have. Boy, oh boy, they're going to cause some trouble once again. Cavani, Suarez, Darwin Núñez, Pelistri, I absolutely love Pelistri, by the way. Vecino, Lucas Torreira, Valverde. This team is looking good. Araujo in the back, leading the defense. Uruguay are going to be an interesting team to follow in this World Cup. They could either really flop, or they can make a surprising run to the semifinals. I wouldn't put it past this side. And they can play a physical brand of football. They can play an attacking brand of football. They can win multiple ways. I like the way Uruguay are going at the moment. They're going to finish second in the group. And in first place, it will be Portugal, under Fernando Santos, one of the last living dinosaurs in this world. Look, yes, he's done well in the Nations League and all that sort of stuff. And yes, give him applause for that. Yes, he did well against North Macedonia and Turkey. The World Cup is going to be a whole different story. Is he still going to play Bernardo Silva and Fernandes in the midfield together? I think if he does that, he is going to leave his defense very, very exposed. Is he still going to play Danilo Pereira and Pepe as his two center backs? Time will tell. But no doubt this team has all the talent in the world to win the World Cup. Yes, to win the World Cup. Ronaldo's going to play in his last World Cup. He's going to go out firing, scoring all the goals, going out with glory possibly. You have Rafael Leao. You have João Felix. This team is so good on paper, but you just have to wonder, how will Fernando Santos play? Will he allow these players to express themselves and play a beautiful brand of attacking football, but also have a good solidity at the back? Or is he going to go back to his defensive ways? In the Nations League, it's been a little bit better. Yes, against Spain, it was a little bit defensive, but it is Spain. Against Czech Republic and Switzerland, at times they played some good football. But I just wonder about Fernando Santos. He's the biggest question mark. But I think they will still somehow win this group. I think they'll get like 7 points. I think they'll draw one game, but win the other 2. But Portugal must step up, and they must finish first, because if they don't, they're going to have a difficult opponent in the round of 16. But Portugal to finish first. Well, if you have made it this far, I salute you, and I thank you very much for watching. Give your predictions in the comment section down below. Don't worry, the updated World Cup predictions will come in October or November, once we know the squads, once we know if there's some injuries and all sorts of stuff, all sorts of circumstances that could occur before the World Cup. This is the greatest time of the year. The anticipation is building. I cannot wait. You should be here on the channel when the World Cup begins, because this is the place to be. All the World Cup coverage of every team, not just of one team, of every 32 teams. It is going to be an awesome experience to have you and for me covering this tournament. But further ado, give your predictions, like I said, in the comment section down below. Hit the like button if we can get up to 100 likes. That would be fantastic. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also, now there will be previews of each and every single team. I'm going to have some guests on the channel, and I'm going to preview every team, talk about their process to the World Cup, talk about manager, talk about players and tactics and all that sort of stuff. So stay tuned for that on the channel. Remember, if you want to become a member of the channel, the starting price is 99 cents. Further ado, have a beautiful day, stay safe, and soon the World Cup will begin. I cannot wait. Have a beautiful day, everybody, and adios!